hand it over to you. Give a big round of applause for this guy. It's a great time, beautiful and wonderful. And I'm muting me.
I know, Dan, that's hard for you to do, but thank you very much. Thank you. First of all, I want to say thank you very much, Dan, for inviting me to read. It's a huge honor. I've read a few times at the Sacred Grounds, and I always had a wonderful time. And it's just a huge honor to be invited. I'm going to be reading mostly from my new book of poetry, which will be coming out in a few weeks. It is called The Socialist's Garden of Verses. It is being published by Regent Press, my dear publisher from 15 years in Berkeley. And hopefully it'll be coming out in October. We missed our September 15th publication date. I'm still proofreading it because I'm a terrible perfectionist and I'm driving him crazy. I always drive him crazy. We go through too many proofreading passes, but I'm just difficult. Sorry. So I'm going to read mostly from that new book. The new book is divided into several sections. The first section is a series of satirical poems based on a certain current world leader whose name will not be mentioned here. I've noticed has not been mentioned yet, and I will not break this brief tradition. However, the name does crop up in the poems, although it is not verbalizable. It begins with a letter T and is followed by a series of printer's symbols that are usually used in comic books to express profanity. Now, I had to find a way of verbalizing that, so I'm going to be saying T, and then I'm going to hit a frying pan. So the name will come as T whenever it comes up. Now, I'm not going to read many poems in that section. It's quite a long section, and I hope it's funny. It's supposed to be. I'm going to read one poem from that section, and so you will not have to hear this unpleasant sound more than a very small number of times. The poems I've written for that section are all based on classic poems from the Western and Eastern traditions, haiku, and going back to Greeks and English and American poets. The poem that I'm going to read is called, the title is The Love Song of Donald J. T. Let us go then, you and I, when election night is spread out against the sky like a voter etherized upon a table. Let us go through certain Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania streets, the muttering retreats of one-night stands in shiny tea hotels, and cheap restaurants with flip-top hamburger shells, streets like CNN that follow a tedious argument of insidious intent to lead you to an overwhelming question. Oh, do not ask, what is it? Let us grab a P***y and make our visit. In the room, the hotties come and go, talking of Pompeo and Barr and Rudy and every other bozo. Indeed, there will be time to wonder, do I dare and do I dare? Time to turn and descend a certain tower's stair with a bald spot in the middle of my orange hair. They will say how his hair is getting thin. My bespoke coat, my collar mounting brim firmly to my chin, my necktie never modest but certainly rich, asserted by a really fabulous pin. They will say, but how his hands are small and how his legs are thin. Do I dare disturb the universe? What is this that I see before me? A voting machine? What does it mean? I always vote by mail. In the room, the hotties come and go, talking of Rudy and Pompeo and Barr and every other bozo. We have lingered in the chambers of Mar-a-Lago by the sea, by sea-girls wreathed with seaweed, red and brown, and I mean very brown, till the voters' voices wake us, and we drown. So, enough for the political moment. Now we'll move on to something more encouraging. The pandemic. I wrote these also from the new book back in the spring in a section called Dispatches from Pandemia. This was written shortly after the lockdowns in April. The city is filled with birdsong. The city is filled with birdsong. The low metallic grumbling usually backing the brittle noisings, chips of sound, throat clearings of gear shafts, the muttering deep hush and shrill siren cries wailing distantly into the city's simulacrum of quiet stills. Behind it all is actual, real, can one call it at last true, silence. Listen. The city is filled with birdsong. Kind, indifferent nature, blossoming with joy above the human darkness. Beauty is love. The coyotes of North Beach. This is an actual description of something I experienced in, I suppose it was May. Because I live on Russian Hill, right at the edge of North Beach. Sunset, spring, a strange wailing rises from the gorge under our house, cautiously balanced on a cliff edge as on a knife, above a valley where coyotes are gathering. Strange indeed for a city, our neighborhood, part declivity, part escarpment, is strange enough for any city. But maybe not strange for a city largely emptied from a malady emptying much of the world and giving meaning to the pan in panache, Panama, panjandrum, pandragon, panic, pandemic. And so giving way to wilderness, seeping back into the streets, crows appraising the rooftops, mountain sheep strolling about in Wales, curious spiders measuring bus shelters with their delicate silks, coyotes gathering at cross streets and dancing to the glimmering streetlights as they flicker on in the dusk and making their coyote-like noisings as sweet as they are uncanny in the city's deepening twilight. Why are they wailing so? Is it from fear or from loneliness or need for love? How do the coyotes know that they are speaking for us? And this poem is something about something that most, perhaps all of us, have been experiencing the last few months. It's called social distancing. And I wrote it later in the summer, but it's basically about the experience that I had in May 2020, a few months ago. Things change so dramatically. Every month seems to be a new century. Yet you have been practicing this all your life. You've always kept a little place as far as you could from the human race. Preferred your own company by far, with cat, book, music, a little mood light, with pleasure in the dusk, with dreams in the night. Felt lonely, only in a crowd, such as one finds in those torture chambers of the spirit, a party of strangers, a bar after midnight, team sports, parades, armies, group meals. You are just someone who never feels completely lonely alone. And now the world, in its viral distress, is joining you in your solitariness. A paradox, but it mocks neither of you, I must confess. When you walk out in the city streets, it's like being inside your own room, if with expanding walls and floor, enormous windows, thrown open door. The city is quiet and empty and free, filled with a monumental tranquility. In a certain sense, beautiful and true, like walking about an empty museum, peopled alone with magnificent work. The city seems to belong to you. The richest man is the one who owns nothing, they say, and wisely too. The world before him is both his home and his wilderness. Another paradox. They're as delightful as they are unorthodox. Your soul expands to meet a place that knows no boundary in space. City, country, sky, room. You grasp your peace like a held stone that hugs your pocket like a charm. In the empty, still, and gleaming town, you feel the fleeting peace of a universe. How's my time, Dan? How's my time? Okay?
You got 6 minutes.
Okay. The year of the comets. In the spring and summer of 2020, 2 comets flew close enough to the Earth to be visible in the night sky. A report from AP. Remote visitors, burled with ice and filaments of life, and tails like hair wind-blown with light, in vast cycles flung across the roads the planets run. Original angels, foretelling catastrophe, you have come to visit from afar our sun, this year of disasters we cannot sum. But senseless to speak, as though a trace of life to come lived. Less than a week within our circled cage of light had passed before the first one broke, disintegrating into smoke and snow. The second spells our sleep, our coldly staring summer sky, like a scratch on a blackened window pane and a mocking name. Neowise. Above the foolish of our earth, as off you go in a long trek 7,000 years long, for you're still young. Too late for warning, too soon for sign of triumph's dance. You come, you go, a shrug among the stars. Design or chance? The finger writes and goes. I've got two to go. I got two more poems to go. This is called Fireworks at Midnight. Now, I wrote this poem. I drafted it on January 1st, 2020. Of course, I had no idea what was going to happen. It was the morning I drafted it and finished it the following week. And the second poem I'm going to read, which I hope you'll give me time to finish, references this first poem, which is why I'm reading it. Remember, this poem was written before we knew what 2020 was coming. It's called Fireworks at Midnight. A throw of lights, like a burning stole across a black sky, drop behind it like velvet, and thunder pops. The crowd swoons. Ignited spiders, instantaneous umbrellas, swooning butterflies, a stampede of Clydesdales off the dark barges with manes aflame, a sweaty paradiddle on humongous drums. Ghosts of ice and flaring cherry blossoms, soaring in freefall cloudwards, but there are no clouds. The crowd raves. Opening like a crowd of babies' fists over astonished water. Boom, boom, crack, crack, boom. Mauve yellow, royal blue, crimson, crayon green, smeared on fog, then gone. No, wait. Enticements of geese, gaggling by in hundreds, cackling like all artillery, tossed like decks of dazzling cards, telling a future nobody knows. Locomotive choo-choo dashes after. What widening ring? Soars. Hey there. What a huge mandius moth. Hop, boom. A rabbit? No. A tiger? No. A teapot? No. A swan? No. A helmet of stars, a hairnet of stars, disintegrating like cigarette ashes, flicked nonchalantly from the sparkling lips of the cars. Crack, boom. Sugar in my tea dissolving thusly. Wow, look at that one. Zipping mice, spilled, spelled, spoiled, spooled, spulled, aw, whooshed by a little quiet. The crowd stills. Then, mighty lightning crash, boom, crack, thunder. Mighty riot, roaring, dancing. Mighty mob singing, beacons, yelling, shouting, dancing. Mighty, mighty clashing of every parade in the universe parading. Boom, crack, crash, boom, boom, crack, boom, crack, boom, boom, crack, crash, crash, boom, 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 boom. Oh, the silence and darkness after that. Oh, the silence and the darkness after that. How you dragonfly across the bees, across the flickering, across the stars of the tide. This is the last one. It's called A Year of Burning. And if you pay attention to closed forms, you'll notice that this poem tries to be a sonnet and fails. It explodes out of the form. And I hope you'll understand why by the end of the poem. A Year of Burning. The fireworks of midnight ceased. The smoke dispersed with the echoes of the booms. We turned from the windows back into our rooms. Hope lingered in the air until it broke. A winter without rain. A word from the east went viral faster than irony winked its eye. Countries closed like butterflies. A word from the east went viral. I'm sorry. A friend would die before worlds shook, the greatest to the least. The smallest crumb of life took hold of the earth on its crown's tines. Your soft and generous heart, grown thick, nearly killed each of us. The city's silence invaded the house. A black man died in violence, and cities roared in flame. Dry storms that start in fire terrify a state laboring to give birth to a future we can hardly face. Another friend died. The country burns. The months ahead darken. toward winter. A child holds its breath. Will we survive? Is this how the dinosaurs died? Will I survive? The song breaks. The words freeze on my lips. Hold fast. Be strong. Have courage. Love and live.